Good morning, Laguna Woods, and welcome to another Inspiration for Today. Well, you probably recognize that I'm not Pastor Rick, I'm Jeff, and we're doing a special Faith Journeys week. And my first guest, or our first guest, is Pastor Rick Bradford. Let's welcome to Inspiration for Hey, Rick, how you doing? I'm glad you could make it today.
It's good to be here.
We're going to be sharing a little bit about our life and how we got to know Jesus, and Pastor Rick has offered to share his story. But first and most importantly, Pastor Rick has a scripture he wants to share with us today.
Well, one of the verses there's so many verses that I could share on that, but in John chapter 14 at verse 6, Jesus said that I am the way, the truth, and the life, and no one comes to the Father but through me. And
Beautiful.
so,
Beautiful.
and you'll see how that comes
Yeah.
into play here in just a moment.
Yeah. And well, to get us started, we'd like Rick to share kind of what was your life like before getting to know Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, as I was growing up, only my grandmother took me to church, but I thought a lot about God. But once I got into college, it was really an interesting thing, and I was in a fraternity, and we would so often, I don't know why, I mean, between the drinking and going to football games and playing basketball all the time and occasionally going to class, which was my story of my life, but we would talk about God. But I knew about him, and I would often take the side of God, or what I now would know as Christians, but I didn't know anything about it, really. It's just that it seemed the logical thing. And so my life before I gave it to Christ, I was the social chairman of the fraternity. I did all the parties. I had a count down at the local market so that I could buy the kegs and everything, and long before I was 21, but no one seemed to matter about that.
I was going to ask you that,
Yeah, that's irrelevant.
Yeah.
But I just was not living in any way a godly life. And so then, as I was about to graduate college, my aunt and uncle asked me and I was dating Diane, who everyone has met, and they said, would you guys be willing to go to this Christian camp up in the San Bernardino Mountains called Forest Home? There is like a college level weekend conference, and we'll pay. And we said, oh, so we can go up to the mountains for free and be at this camp. And we did. And so along the way, that day, I said, we were talking about, do you think we should get married? And I asked the speaker at the conference, could a Protestant marry a Catholic? And he said, well, if you're both close to Jesus Christ, then I'm convinced it'll work out. And I only thought of myself as a Protestant. I didn't know any names of other denominations. And but when he said that, I couldn't say that I was close to Christ. Diane had a faith. We believed that she knew the Lord. But that night we went out under the stars, and it just seemed like God was there. And he said, he talks about inviting Christ into your life. Why don't we do that? And if it's true, then maybe then we'll be Christians. That's all we knew. We knew nothing. And if it's not true, then what's it hurt? And so we went ahead and prayed that night at Forest Home, January of 1970, under the stars, Jesus, if you're actually real, would you come into my life? And I got to tell you, or do you want to know?
I do want to know. Yeah, I want to know.
I got to tell you, my life has never been the same. I didn't feel any tingling or anything like that, but it really changed my life in so many ways. And I don't know if any of my old fraternity brothers are watching this, because this all happened right as I was graduating from college, and it changed me dramatically. And when I told my mom, she said, "Oh, are you one of those Jesus freaks now?" And I said, "Yeah, I guess I am. I don't know. I mean, I didn't know if I was or I wasn't, but I knew that I was going to be following Jesus with my life, because all of a sudden the Bible seemed to open up as making sense and be true."
Wow.
That was the biggest change for me.
Yeah.
So parts of my life changed immediately. I was a champion swearer when I was in college.
That good, huh?
I think we competed against each other.
Wow.
Pretty much. And not wanting to be second, I came in first. But interestingly enough, that part of my life cleaned up immediately. I had no desire anymore. Well, I hated that I would ever use Jesus, who was a swear word prior. Now he was my Lord. So how could I swear using his name? And the rest of it dried up too. Other things like drunkenness and other things, they lingered for several years more. But eventually the Lord dealt with those things also. But often now that I've been a Christian for all these years, I know that parts of life mature at different rates. And I'm still working on lots of stuff.
And probably one of the biggest things is the contrast. I mean, it's like if people that you may have known back then before Christ would spend time with him now, they would see this great difference and great growth.
I hope so. But, it just, so in a way, in some ways, I would love to go back and talk to a lot of those guys. A few are still I'm acquaintances with and good friends, I hope. But I also just would want my friends and family to know Jesus has, since that very time, has been everything in my life. And Diana and I have walked through this life together. But even more than that, Jesus was with us. That guy who said, well, if you're both close to Jesus, this can work. Well, we both got close to Jesus, and it has worked.
Wonderful.
And I would never go back. He's given meaning and purpose to my life.
I'll say, I mean, you're a pastor at
church.
church.
Well, I wasn't always a pastor. And in some way, I appreciate the various chapters of life that I had. And some were fun. My Crayola years, I totally loved. But some of my pastoring and planting churches, I totally loved also. And I would never go back and change any of it. Along the way, he gifted us with 2 kids and so far 2 grandchildren that Wonderful. I love and my son-in-laws too. We feel like they're a part of our family also. Well, they are a part of them, but I love them like sons also. And you know them.
Oh, they're great. I love those guys.
You know.
Yeah.
So it's just been a wonderful life, but all my praise goes to the Lord.
Oh, yes.
I'm so thankful that really my aunt and uncle encouraged us. Maybe I'd have come to the Lord in some other way, but that is the how, in my case, that I did it.
Wow.
So I never regret it, and I wouldn't change a thing on that.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that with us, and we're looking forward to other people sharing their story. And thanks for leading the way on this.
I hope they will.
Yeah. Well, Laguna Woods, it looks like we're running out of time. Thank you so much for being here. We love you, and please join us some Sunday morning at Clubhouse 5. Take care.